All right, now we're going to talk about tools that graffiti writers use to actually tag. Now, ideally, if you were in the classroom, I would have these actual tools here for you and you could try them out for yourselves, but we don't. So I'm going to do my best just to show you. This is just nice to know stuff, and I realize that at home you may not even have markers at this point, but we will absolutely do our best. So the idea is that when you're going around and people are tagging, what's happening is really you want to have something that's really small that's in your pocket. So when you're going around and you're tagging, you just grab it from your pocket and you go and you just write on any surfaces. So but you also want to make sure that the ink is not going to fade and it's going to be really permanent because you're outside, right? You don't want the rain or the sun to make it fade and rain to wash it away. So really, really strong permanent ink, something that's really small. And we're just going to talk about the different tips. And again, this is all just cool, nice to know stuff. So my favorite is an ink marker. But we've used paint markers before, and they have different types of tips. They have different colors, but I love how black the ink is for me. And of course, tags can be done in any colors that you want, right? But they're fade resistant and they're super permanent. So I like the lines and things like that that ink markers make. Now the tips are made of sponge, so they really work well on smooth surfaces. So like paper and graffitiing stickers and things like that. That's probably what it's best for. Now, if you're doing this on walls, on a brick surface, the tip is going to rub away, and actually you're not going to get something that's really nice. So it would work well on glass, it would work well on the back of stop signs, phone booths, things like that. So there's ink markers. So there's also something called cutters, and cutters are like ink markers, but instead you squeeze them to make the ink come out. And again, they come in different widths. I really like these two because it gives you really nice lines, because it's kind of like you can do the thick and the thin lines with them. What's nice is these are refillable, so you could buy just a cutter, and usually they're pretty small. They're like, I don't know, that big, if that helps, different sizes. But you can just buy like a cutter and you can just buy a big thing of ink and then just keep, refilling it if you want. So again, they have like that sponge tip. So on a rough brick surface, it wouldn't be ideal and it would, wear out. So, but again, they work really well on nice smooth surfaces like glass, especially paper. But they're nice. It's nice if you can get the bigger ones and you can do like a bigger tag. Now, there's something called squeezers, and they're kind of like, think of a bingo dabber, and we've actually made a few on our own in class with old bingo dabbers. And the way that they work, so they have the white tip, but again, you have to squeeze them for the ink to come out. So they have more of a flat, like bingo dabber sort of surface. So again, the ink is really nice, it's permanent, it's really deep. Now, what's hard about these, though, is because you squeeze them to write, it's hard to control, I find anyway, the ink that's dripping. It is kind of a cool look, but I find that, you don't want your tag to be really drippy. But anyway, it takes some practice. So again, it works best on flat and smooth surfaces, but it's something that's you can do really quickly. Again, they're really small. They can go in your pocket. So metalheads are super small. They're about, I guess, that big. But what's different with these ones, so the tip is really, really small, and it's actually made out of metal. So you squeeze them the same way like a squeezer or a cutter to make it work. But they're really nice. They give you a nice fine line. Take some practice to make work, but also because they're not made of sponge for the tip, they won't wear down. So they work really nice on rougher surfaces, and of course like other things in metal. But again, any color, really nice ink. Paint sticks are kind of cool. They're oil based and they come in a bunch of different colors. So there's no ink to it. It's permanent because oil repels water. So when it rains or somebody tries to wash it away, it won't come off. So they work really nice on glass. And they're not wet or anything. It's just as soon as you start writing with them, they activate. So they're kind of like, think of a crayon, right? Or an oil-based, like an oil-based crayon. Like just think of it that way. But again, they're about that big, and they can fit really nice in your pocket, and they won't drip. Now, you can use spray paint to tag, but Spray can is about that big. They're really loud. You have to shake them. They don't necessarily just fit in your pocket, so you can't be walking down the street. Graffiti writers can't just, sneak out and do something, because the whole point about tagging everything is not being seen. You can have you can change the caps on them, so you can get like a skinny cap and try and get a fine line, but you still can't get it really small, because normally tags are going to be, small, different sizes depending on the surface. So really, you could tag with spray paint, but normally you don't. And again, it's hard to be discreet. I think that's the biggest challenge. When you do like a big graffiti piece, you sign your name with, spray paint, not necessarily marker. So I guess I would say that's when they would use that. Okay, so those are some of the things that the tools that graffiti writers use. So my favorite, I like the ink markers. I like the chisel tips. They just give really nice lines. Okay, so hope that helps.